Hello world, welcome to the 135th climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, USA. This is July 9th, 2021. Next week will be the 136th, hard to believe, climate change emergency protest. Now it'll be on, I think, July 16th, 2021. So this is number 135. So my main talk today is about the Arctic. Doesn't mean much to most people, but it is the linchpin that can save or end all life on Earth, and it's a surprise to most people. There is no carbon budget right now. There's various people that keep putting out, we can put this much more in the atmosphere and survive. We are causing massive problems right now. So anytime a car goes up and down the road, anytime you and I start up our car or buy something or do anything, we're putting more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and people are a heat engine, and that's what we do. But we need to start mitigating. We need to absolutely mitigate what's going on right now with our consumption and our thought process about everything. So there's no carbon budget. 350.org has us, in the past has said that we can go down to 350 parts per million and survive. That's not true either. The absolute limits for carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and have a stable environment is between 200 and 280 parts per million. Right now we have 419, 417 parts per million. And if you do the equivalency, factor in methane and other greenhouse gases, you're probably over 700 parts per million. So we want to be down around 480 or 280 parts per million and below. And we have no chance of doing that right now because there's no push by the governments or anybody else. People are just going back to business as usual, and it's a shame because this is our death sentence right now. This is the last chance we have to affect things and have any chance of mitigating or even slowing up climate change. I call it global scorching at this point. The term climate change sounds nice and warming and everything's honky-dory, but right now we're encountering global scorching, and this is where we're headed as far as the planet goes and all life on Earth. Right now, the Arctic sea ice, if you look around the Russian seas and the Arctic in general, 4 days ago was 8 inches and more sitting there, and now, over 2 feet in the Arctic sea ice, and now it's down to 8 inches. So basically, we're working on a blue ocean event. It might not become a full-blown blue ocean event, meaning there's no ice left, but for all intents and purposes, we're heading there, and whether it's this year, next year, or the following year, we're on a road to hell, and this is some of the reason why what will happen if we do encounter a blue ocean event. Right now, the 4 Russian seas are losing all their ice, and they're significant because they're fairly shallow. They're 150 feet and less, and within that are methane clathrates and permafrost that can shoot off massive amounts of methane in the atmosphere, as well as carbon dioxide. They can escape very easily from the shallow seas up into the atmosphere, and that is a severe greenhouse gas and life-ending, basically, because it will cause our atmosphere to heat up dramatically, even more so than it is now. Right now, the Russian seas are encountering heat, not only from below the oceans, warm water coming in, but also above, because the atmosphere up in the Arctic is warming up exponentially, as well as rivers from Russia being dumped into the Russian seas. So the rivers, Siberia is heated up to 100 degrees at some point, and those hot waters go into the ocean up in the Arctic, and that causes even more ice loss. So the ice, if it goes, you're going to end up with a jet stream that is just unfathomable. Right now the jet stream is wavy, and that's why there is no wind. You have to go fairly high up in the atmosphere to encounter wind. As you can see behind me, the trees aren't blowing. This is not normal. You have the heating of the waters if the ice goes, such as if you walk around a party with a drink and ice cubes in your drink. This stays fairly cool. It's around 32 degrees or a little bit warmer, but somewhere around there. But as soon as the ice melts, then the temperature of your drink goes up to room temperature. You do not want that to happen in the Arctic. It is fatal. That'll end us all. So, you have the heating of the waters. If the ice goes, you have loss of cooling effect. The oceans will no longer be able to cool us off as a society and as a planet. It's no longer a refrigerator. The air in the air, as far as that goes. And then also loss of albedo. The sun no longer gets reflected in the atmosphere. It stays and hits the surface of the ocean or the land and causes even more heating. Methane is contained in the permafrost. in the Siberia area, and also northern Canada and Alaska, and Norway and Sweden, and that'll shoot off massive amounts of methane, which is a horrible greenhouse gas. In the first 2 years, it is 162 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than is carbon dioxide. And years 2 to 20, it is somewhere around 80 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than is carbon dioxide. So it's a horrible greenhouse gas, and that's what's contained in the permafrost as well as the 4 Russian seas. I talked about the methane clathrates, which is cages of ice around methane, and that has unbelievable amount of gigatons of methane in the 4 Russian seas. Also, you encounter with the heating of the Arctic, you have Greenland ice loss. The melting, not only does the ice retreat, and much of Greenland is below sea level, believe it or not, because the ice is so heavy it's pushing down on the land, but in the center of Greenland. Also, you have deflation for the Greenland ice sheets. So instead of being high up in the atmosphere, as it melts, it deflates and comes down lower and lower in the atmosphere, which causes more heating, because the lower you go in the atmosphere, the warmer it is. So if you're way up high, the ice kind of holds together and doesn't melt, but as it deflates, it encounters warmer and warmer air as it gets lower. So things will change abruptly if we lose the Arctic ice, and the media is not covering that. There's very little coverage, and it is the very thing that will cause the end of all life on Earth if the Arctic goes. So this is a world we do not want to encounter. What we're going to encounter if we don't change our ways is extreme heat. Extreme heat, famine, drought, deluges of rain, insects. In prior extinction events, it wasn't just the heat that ended things. It was also insects came and destroyed in the PETM 55 million years ago. Insects did a lot of damage. You have loss of habitat as well. Governments will collapse, as well as social unrest. You end up with mass migration as well. The carbon dioxide lag time right now in the atmosphere, as I said, is 419, 417 parts per million, which is way over the amount we can use that we can have a stable environment. The lag time for carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is 10 to 30 years till temperature catches up. So we're in a world of hell coming, because we're just now encountering the time when iPhones and Chinese manufacturing is coming online, and worldwide trade, concerning manufacturing. So, we're just now reaping what we have sown, and we're basically, the northwest of the United States, for example, had a 1,500-year heating event up there, a heat dome, and it's one every 1,500 years. Well, I think it's going to become commonplace, and it's sad to say we're not going back to normality unless we start getting a hold of this carbon dioxide situation. Nothing this is not guaranteed, but this is where we're headed. Failure to recognize the extreme events of this, what's going on right now, is going to end us. We need to wake up as a people and take this on head on. Not only is it childish, but it's also irresponsible to not do something about this. It's immoral. We owe it not only to our future children and grandchildren, we also owe it to ourselves. We're going to see this happen in our lifetime, and we are seeing it right now. Over 800 people died in the Northwest and Canada in the last heat wave. That's 800 people. Now, that's 3 times the normal background rate of immediate deaths. So people are encountering it, and if you think it's not affecting you, talk to the families of those who have died. That's a mass casualty event. So governments are comprised of people. You vote for the wrong people. You don't put pressure on governments to start doing the right thing, and this is what will happen and continue to happen. There is no change going on in the United States. There is no change within the world. If climate change actions were happening, you would know it right now, and right now it is not happening. It'd be self-apparent that there's immediate change going on, and right now you cannot name one government that is taking huge action concerning climate change, and that's what's required around the whole world. For example, Barack Obama, everyone thinks he was a saint. That might be a good person, I don't know. But drilling and fracking were a big part of his administration. He put it down, and he said this himself. If you look up Oklahoma, talking in front of people in Oklahoma, he put down a pipeline to go around the world. He drilled and fracked to the point that the United States, instead of being an oil and gas importer, the United States became a gas exporter. Then you have Donald Trump, who is an environmental disaster. He did everything he could to harm the environment. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that. He authorized drilling everywhere that he could authorize. And then along comes Joe Biden, and no one project is one to end us all, but it is one to push us over the edge and go the wrong direction. And there's one Biden has now authorized called Willow, and it'll produce 1 billion barrels of oil over 30 years. Don't fool yourself that this has been stopped. It has not been stopped. It's 30 billion. It's 1 billion barrels of oil over 30 years. I mean, that's horrendous, and it's the wrong direction of where we want to go. You know, the idea that he thinks it's an existential threat is BS, because he's doing nothing concerning climate change. Have you heard anything recently that's been talked about climate change? No. Have you seen any action by Congress or the Senate or anyone else concerning climate change? The answer is no. Have you seen your world governments do anything about climate change in a severe nature? The answer is no. If anything was happening, you would know it. So the PETM event, which was 55 million years ago, which 95% of all life on Earth was wiped out, was 55 million years ago. The CO2 level back then was the CO2 level was much higher than it is now. But right now we're equal to 3 million years ago to 15 million years ago, depending who you talk to. If the PETM event was 55 million years ago, we're quickly closing on that time. Temperatures back then were 5 to 9 degrees Celsius higher. We have crossed, if you use the 1780 baseline, we have crossed 1.8 degrees Celsius. So we're heading towards that 5 to 9 degrees Celsius threshold, and we are quickly running out of time. The lack of action is astounding to me. I don't understand it. It's like there's no thought process. I don't know what's going on with everyone, but no one wants to do anything, or such as these types of protests, or even talking about it, and it's absolute insanity. Basically, we're out on a plank right now over a chasm, and we're pouring gasoline on the wood behind us on the plank, while a hurricane tries to blow us off the plank. That's the kind of risk we're taking right now, and it is absolute insanity. We are quickly accelerating towards extinction of all life on Earth, including humans. We have a problem, and we need to do something about it. We need to recognize the problem, and part of the problem is our financial situation. You know, capitalism and endless consumption will not work anymore on a finite planet. That is a cancer, and it will eventually kill everything. We need a new thought process about, you know, how to be with nature and to work with nature rather than fight against it. Maybe it's a religious thing that we are supposed to have domination over, you know, nature and consider it our own. Well, nature's getting us back right now, and the Earth is very powerful as far as correcting problems and shaking us off like a flea off of a dog. So we're basically overshooting our resources. We're stealing from the future, and we're leaving the kids and ourselves no future the way we're headed. Buying incessantly does not guarantee immortality, okay? I think a lot of people buy things and they think they're going to live forever. If they buy that Rolex watch, or they get that Lexus car, or they get that bigger house, or they go on that vacation, you know, it does not give you immortality, but it does guarantee extinction, you know, and the chance of any future, you know. So we got to get it together and change our whole thought process. So if you want to learn about climate change, go down this webpage, Jim McHenry and Tanya Qualley. There's a lot of information on there, and you know, if you don't know about climate change, what's happening, you can read those articles, and I go back many years. Environmental Coffee House is good to listen to on YouTube. Roger Hallam, Gail Bradbrook, and Rupert Reed on YouTube are great speakers. You have scientists, Peter Carter, Peter Wadhams, Paul Beckwith, and Guy McPherson. Also, Collapse Chronicles with Sam. He's a really good speaker. Just Have a Think is really good as well. Good scientific stuff. Russell Brand has a different thought process concerning life on Earth. And Climate Change Emergency Forum also on YouTube. So I'll catch you next week. That'll be July 9th. That'll be climate change protest number 136. And I wish it was protest number 2 and we were done at this point. But it's going to keep going, and I suspect I'll go to number 200 and nothing will change. In fact, things will get much worse. So good luck to the western United States, southwest United States. They're encountering a heat wave coming up this weekend, and it's going to be tough for many to survive, and many people will die as a result of it. You know, and we just keep going along, business as usual. America's back. Yeah, we're back to stupidity. So good luck, people. Good luck in the southwest and Los Angeles and San Diego area, and my thoughts are with you.